What's going on, YouTube? How are you today? This is Fair Play here, back to do another review of season 1, episode, I believe this is episode 9 from last Monday night, of The Passage. What's the title of it? Oh my God, y'all, please forgive me. I am driving and you might hear a lot of background noise going on. Hopefully not, but in case you do, I apologize in advance. But anyway, episode 9, entitled "You Are Not That Girl Anymore." Well, this particular episode, y'all, and it's gonna be quick because this 15-minute recording that Spreaker gives you know how that goes. So anyway, I'm gonna just give you the gist of the episode. It was really good, of course, and I can't wait to see tonight's episodes. But because I believe they're gonna play the last 2 tonight. Well, Amy this time has come for her to go through her change, all right? But before I get off into that, that deputy director, Horace Gilder, of course, has taken over Project Noah. He's trying to salvage it any way he can. He's trying to save the whole project when it needs to be destroyed, like Dr. Sykes has told him. Well, he has basically hired another head of security, because we know that person was Clark Richards, but he's hired a whole nother head of security, and he has basically fired everybody that was working on Project Noah. Just fired them. And I was amazed at how calm these people were. I mean, I was like, what kind of mess is this? They were extremely calm. They were happy because he gave them a little bit of bonus and told them they can go home with their families and everything, because obviously they've been locked up and tied up at this compound for about 3 years now. So he fires everybody, including Clark, okay? And he tells them y'all can go ahead and have a party. So they hang around the compound and they party and everything. Okay. So during this time, things are getting out of hand. Amy is in this deep REM sleep, and she's still basically in her mind at her mother's house. Okay, her mother's not there, but she's still there. She's reading the book that her mom gave her. Fanning is there trying to talk to her, but she's been ignoring him obviously since the last episode. So while this is going on, while he's trying to talk to her and get her to get, trying to encourage her, listen to me, I need you to talk to me. What is Brad doing at this point? Brad is in the room with her. I want to say he's trying to wake her up or something like that, or he's around there trying to talk to the people at the compound and trying to figure out what's going on. Him and Clark are having confrontation. Babcock is still getting into Clark's mind. She obviously wants him in a romantic way. She's trying to tell him the only way that he's going to be saved is if he goes with her. And they do a little flashback where 4 months ago she tried to escape the compound, but he caught up with her. Of course, she wasn't going to be able to leave anyway, because there's a 12 feet of barbed wire around the compound, and she wasn't going to be able to escape anyway. So she's devastated and crying because she can't get out of there. But he sweet talks her back into the car with him, and he takes her to a diner so she can eat, and she orders all this food and whatever, and they have this really deep conversation because she's good at getting people to talk to her. And so while they are talking, oh my God. So anyway, while they are talking, he has already called backup to come and get her. He's apparently very committed to Project Noah. Even though it's going bad, he's committed to making sure that he does his job. He's committed to his job. Even though he likes her, it's obvious that he likes her as well. He fancies her too, but he has those men while they're eating. He gains her confidence and her trust, and he asks them to come and pick her up and take her back to the compound, because that's his job and that's what he has to do. Of course, we know that that's what she's holding against him, but because she's in love with him or has romantic feelings for him, she's trying to save him to this day. Okay, so that happens. She's in his head. She meets him in an elevator one day in his mind, and he is basically, she kisses him one day, telling him that he's the one that made her into what she is. He's responsible for it. They kiss, but he tells her he doesn't want her, and that person that he cares about was the reject that she was when she got there. Basically, this poor girl that had done what she done, the one before she started to change. That's the one that he cared about, not this new Babcock, this monster Babcock. And of course she's upset, but she has to leave him alone. for a minute. Okay, so while all this is going on, like I said, Horace Gilder is trying to do his thing, trying to salvage everything and trying to salvage Project Noah. And y'all, I know I'm rambling, but this is literally what's going on in the episode without me telling all the details. Amy, of course, like I said, is in her sleep, but she's being visited by Fanning. And he's trying to talk to her. He does finally get her to talk to him. He tells her he wants her to be his friend and all this. She's trying to get him to cut to the chase. And he's outside at some point talking to her. At this point, she's not feeling good at all while Brad is in the room talking to her, because she does wake up at one point. Brad talks to her, and she literally spits up blood and spits out a tooth, which tells you that she's changing. She's doing the exact same thing that Anthony did. She's doing the same thing that Dr. Fanning did. So she's changing to this monster. She's scared, of course, but at some point she goes back to sleep, and she's back with Dr. Fanning. She's outside at like a pool or something, and he's talking to her and trying to entice her to do what he needs her to do, telling her how wonderful she is and she's a hero and she's going to be the best thing because it's the end and she needs to make a choice. And she's letting him, he's telling her that he's the only choice to make because he's the only one that cares for her, and blah blah blah, and you know how they do. So anyway, she's it seems that she's going along with him. She's trying to trust somebody, because at this point, even though she trusts Brad, it's like she's just all over the place because she's afraid. So he leads her out to the woods, to this wooded area, and he takes her to a bicycle. He basically magically makes a bike appear that is the same bike that she used to have when her mother was alive. And so she's all excited, and of course he uses that like you do with children to gain her trust. And it's time for Amy to make a choice between good and evil, basically, y'all. So he takes her out to this place, to this tunnel, and he tells her that the way she's going to make her choice, because it's different for all of them. He says, the way I need you to make your choice, I need you to ride through this tunnel. I need you to come out on the other side of this tunnel. And when you get to the other side, you would have arrived. Basically, her journey from being who she is to the monster that he needs her to be so that they can take over. Okay? Now, all this time, Dr. Sykes and Leela are working on an antidote, or an antidote for this injection that they received. They're working on the, what do you call it? Oh Lord. They're working on the injection to counteract what's going on with them right now. And they eventually do get to it. But see, John Gray is continuously being controlled by Dr. Fanning, who is leading him to lock up the people, the employees in the place. He's leading him to go and let the monsters out and all this. And he literally does this in this episode. He has been, Clark has captured him and literally not handcuffed, but handcuffed him with these tight plastic things to a car, but he cuts his own wrist to get out of it. I mean, that's the kind of control Dr. Fanning has on him. Everything Dr. Fanning tells him, he just completely controls him, okay? And he's literally bleeding half to death to get out of these arm cuffs to go and do what Dr. Fanning has told him to do at one point. Horace Gilder gets taken into custody by Clark as well. He captures him too. The guy that Gilder hired to take over security is killed. He winds up getting bitten. Like I said, Clark is basically running things now, okay? And Brad is in the room trying to talk to and sit with Amy like he always does while she's in this deep sleep. So eventually Dr. Sykes and Leela do come up with this, or Dr. Sykes comes up with that the thing to resist the monster change that Amy's going to go through. And just when they're about to get ready to go take her a dosage, John Gray comes up and locks Dr. Sykes in the room while Leela has stepped out to go and get some syringes or some pads or something. So they never get an opportunity to give this injection, unfortunately, to Amy, all right? Because he has locked her in, and he done slapped Leela so hard that she's bleeding out the head and she is fainting. He done knocked her out cold, okay? So they're in a bad way. Dr. Sykes is left in the lab yelling and screaming through the door because she can't get out. Okay, so it's getting really bad. So John Gray is on his way down to the lab to let everybody out. He's got the key, he's got the codes and everything. While all this is going on, Clark Richardson is getting the codes from Horace Gilder to open up everything so that he can get in and do what he needs to do. Because remember now, Gilder has fired everybody, so everybody's security access has been revoked. So he's got to try to get all of that back for him, okay? So while all that's going on, they go back to showing you Amy. Amy is in the tunnel riding her bike, because she's crying. She's upset because she really doesn't know what to do. She's torn between doing what Fanning wants her to do and torn between doing what is right, meaning rejecting Fanning. But she keeps riding, she keeps riding, she keeps riding, and while she's riding, she begins to have flashbacks. Remember what Brad told her, because Brad is talking to her in her ear while she's asleep. So she's remembering things her mom said to her when her mom told her she was like the sun. She remembers things that she did. She remembers that she has magic power, or not magic power, but she has superhero powers. And all of these things are coming back to her while she is riding. So finally, she actually stops, throws the bike down. She strikes a match from the matchbook that her mom gave her in the last episode, and she remembers what her mother told her, and she remembers what Brad told her. She said, "What are we not going to do?" And she says, "We're not going to panic." And so she gets back on her bike, she turns around, and she rides away and goes back to Fanning. So she has chosen good over evil. Yes, 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 what a wonderful thing that she has done. And so she is back out. Fanning is yelling and screaming, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" And you see him back at the lab. His body, which is still in the lab cell, is changing and turning, and all those veins are coming up, which means he's seeing something that's not good. He can feel everything that's happening. So y'all, this really good episode. Amy finally wakes up out of her sleep with Brad. She tells him, she says, "We got to get out of here," because she knows something bad is happening down at that lab. They go down to the lab, and while they're down there, see, as a matter of fact, they have locked Amy up in the lab. I forgot that. She is in her own cell in the lab as well, with Fanning, Babcock, and the rest of the monsters. She's down there too, and which they've taken her out of her comfort zone from the room that she was in. So when they get in there, there's, like I said, John Gray is down there basically letting everybody out. He's already opened the doors. Gilder, for some reason, is down there tied up and laying on the floor. Clark left him there. So Brad has to help drag him, and they wind up getting out. He goes in there and gets him, and they come out. He gets Amy. They run out of the lab, and they close the door on the monsters. They managed to let the lab doors close, and they close Fanning up in the door. So it's gotten bad, y'all. Things done got real. All the monsters have gotten out. And so now, basically, they got to figure out how to contain them. So while Brad and Amy and Gilda are outside the door, because I'm pretty sure Gilda's on their side now, because he's seen that he can't do anything with this thing. Now, he's got to have some sense at this point. So Amy turns around because she's very scared. She's very afraid. Remember, she's a 10-year-old child. So she turns around and she closes her eyes like children do, trying to hide from it, trying to pretend like she's in another place. And then all of a sudden, she opens her eyes, and her eyes have turned that burnt amber brown color that they turn when they become the vampire. So she has basically completed her change. She's completed her change. And that is pretty much where the episode goes off. And so I cannot wait to see tonight what's going to happen. They are going to have to figure out how to contain the monsters in Project Noah. And Amy is going to be their only hope, y'all. So anyway, y'all, thank you for listening to this rambling recording. I know it was all over the place, y'all. I'm doing it real fast because I'm on my way to a destination. But until next time, thank you, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.